Have you noticed that after 50, strength seems to fade faster than it builds? Joints feel stiffer each morning, and simple movements quietly demand more effort than they used to? What if that decline is not inevitable aging, but a signal that your body is waiting for the right kind of stimulus to wake it up again? In Japan, men stay mobile, lean, and powerful well into later decades by practicing 5 daily exercises that retrain strength, balance, and longevity from the inside out. Most men do not wake up one morning and suddenly feel old, because aging rarely arrives as a dramatic event, and instead creeps in quietly through small daily changes that seem harmless at first. You may notice that getting up from a low chair takes a little more effort than it did 5 years ago, or that your legs feel heavier when climbing stairs, or that your balance feels slightly less automatic when stepping off a curb. These changes are easy to dismiss as normal aging. Yet, beneath the surface, something measurable and very specific is happening inside the body. After the age of 50, muscle tissue naturally begins to decline in both size and strength at a faster rate than most men expect, especially if it is not challenged regularly with resistance or balance-based movement. This process, known as age-related muscle loss, affects not only visible strength, but also metabolism, blood sugar control, joint stability, and even hormone balance. When muscle shrinks, the body burns fewer calories at rest, insulin sensitivity can decline, and fat storage tends to increase around the abdomen, which further accelerates inflammation and cardiovascular strain. At the same time, testosterone levels gradually decrease, and although the drop may be subtle each year, the cumulative effect can influence energy, mood, recovery speed, and overall drive. Many men interpret this as a loss of motivation or a personality shift, when in reality it is often a biological response to reduced physical stimulus and declining muscle engagement. The body adapts to whatever demands are placed on it, and when daily life becomes more sedentary, the body slowly reorganizes itself around inactivity. Joint stiffness is another silent contributor to accelerated aging, because cartilage relies on movement to receive nutrients and maintain its smooth, shock-absorbing function. Without regular loading and unloading through controlled motion, joints can become less lubricated and more prone to discomfort, which then discourages further movement and creates a cycle of avoidance. Over time, this reduced range of motion alters posture, shortens certain muscle groups, and places uneven stress on the spine and hips, subtly changing the way a man stands and walks. Balance also begins to decline after 50. Not because the body is incapable of stability, but because the nervous system receives fewer challenges that require fine motor control and coordination, tiny stabilizing. Muscles around the ankles, hips, and core gradually weaken when they are not called into action, and the communication between brain and body becomes slightly slower. This is why falls become more common with age, even in men who still consider themselves relatively strong. Perhaps most overlooked is the role of mitochondria, the small energy-producing structures inside your cells that determine how efficiently you convert oxygen and nutrients into usable power. With consistent movement, mitochondria multiply and function more effectively, supporting endurance, cognitive clarity, and metabolic resilience. Without that stimulus, mitochondrial density can decrease, leading to fatigue, slower recovery, and reduced vitality that many men mistake for unavoidable aging. When you connect all these factors together, the picture becomes clear that aging accelerates not simply because of time passing, but because of insufficient daily stimulus to maintain strength, circulation, coordination, and cellular energy. The body is remarkably adaptive, but it adapts downward just as efficiently as it adapts upward. If the demand placed on it is low, the capacity of the body gradually lowers to match. The empowering truth is that this process is not fixed or irreversible, because the same biological systems that decline with disuse can respond positively when given the right kind of consistent challenge. Muscle tissue can rebuild, balance pathways can sharpen, circulation can improve, and mitochondrial function can increase even well beyond the age of 50. Understanding why aging accelerates is the first step toward interrupting that pattern, and it sets the stage for a practical approach that targets strength, stability, and long-term vitality through intentional daily movement. In many parts of the world, exercise is treated like a punishment for aging, a reaction to weight gain, or a temporary burst of effort before an event. But in Japan, movement is woven quietly into daily life as a form of preservation rather than correction. The goal is not to impress anyone with intensity, but to remain capable, steady, and independent for as many decades as possible. This shift in mindset changes everything, because when movement becomes maintenance instead of emergency repair, consistency becomes natural instead of forced. Japanese longevity culture does not revolve around extreme gym sessions or dramatic transformations, but around modest daily practices that protect joints, stimulate circulation, and reinforce balance. Older adults are commonly seen walking with upright posture, rising from the floor without hesitation, and performing simple strength movements at home without elaborate equipment. These actions may appear small, yet they send powerful signals to the body that it is still required to function at a high level. One core principle is that frequency matters more than intensity, because the body responds more favorably to regular gentle stimulation than to occasional strain followed by long periods of inactivity. When muscles are engaged daily, even at moderate effort, protein synthesis remains more active and neural pathways stay sharp. When balance is challenged consistently, the brain continues refining its coordination patterns instead of allowing them to dull. This daily input acts like a steady conversation between the brain and the body, reminding every system that it is still needed. Another principle centers on joint preservation, because strong joints allow strong movement. Rather than forcing heavy loads through stiff ranges of motion, the emphasis is placed on controlled movement that respects alignment and builds strength gradually. This reduces inflammation, protects cartilage, and maintains the elasticity of connective tissue. When joints feel safe, people are more willing to move, and that willingness prevents the downward spiral of avoidance that often accelerates aging elsewhere. Posture also receives deliberate attention, because the way a man stands and walks influences breathing capacity, spinal health, and even confidence. A tall posture allows the diaphragm to expand fully, which improves oxygen delivery and supports cardiovascular efficiency. Proper alignment distributes mechanical stress evenly across the hips and knees, reducing wear and tear over time. In Japanese longevity routines, posture is not a cosmetic detail, but a structural foundation for healthy aging. Circulation is another quiet priority, since blood flow determines how well nutrients and oxygen reach tissues that repair and regenerate. Simple repetitive movements such as heel raises or steady walking stimulate the calf muscles, which act as a secondary pump to assist blood returning to the heart. This supports cardiovascular resilience and reduces stagnation in the lower limbs. Over years, this consistent circulation helps preserve both heart function and cognitive clarity. There is also a psychological layer to this philosophy that cannot be ignored, because daily movement reinforces identity. When a man over 50 performs strength and balance exercises every day, he sends himself a message that decline is not the default path. The routine becomes a daily vote for capability, and that sense of agency influences mood, confidence, and long-term adherence. Instead of fearing aging, he actively participates in shaping how his body ages. The deeper lesson is that longevity is not built in dramatic bursts, but in quiet repetition. 5 to 15 minutes practiced every day may not feel impressive in the moment, yet over months and years those minutes accumulate into preserved muscle, stable joints, efficient circulation, and sustained energy. The Japanese approach teaches that aging well is less about fighting time and more about partnering with biology through steady, intelligent movement. This philosophy sets the foundation for the specific exercises that follow, each chosen not for flash or intensity, but for their ability to strengthen the systems that matter most after 50. The first two movements in this daily routine are not flashy and they do not require machines, yet they directly target the two systems that decline fastest after 50, which are lower body strength and balance control. These are called foundation builders because they restore the base that supports every other activity you perform, whether that is walking, lifting groceries, climbing stairs, or simply standing confidently without hesitation. When the foundation weakens, everything above it compensates, and that compensation accelerates joint strain, instability, and fatigue. The first exercise is the slow, deep squat, performed with control and awareness rather than speed or momentum. To begin, stand with your feet slightly wider than hip width and your toes angled gently outward to allow the hips to open naturally. Slowly lower your body as if you are sitting back into a chair, keeping your chest upright and your knees tracking in line with your toes. Move at a deliberate pace that allows your muscles to engage fully, taking several seconds to descend and several seconds to rise back up. This slow tempo is essential because it increases time under tension, which stimulates muscle fibers more effectively than quick repetitions that rely on momentum. The quadriceps, hamstrings, and glute muscles are heavily activated during this movement, and these muscle groups are among the largest and most metabolically important in the body. Strong legs improve blood sugar control, support hormone balance, and protect the knees and hips from instability. Each repetition sends a signal that the lower body must remain powerful and responsive. If flexibility limits your depth, it is perfectly acceptable to use a chair for support or to reduce the range of motion at first, because consistency matters more than perfection. Over time, as joints warm and muscles strengthen, depth and confidence improve naturally. Performing 8 to 12 slow repetitions for 2 to 3 sets can create a strong stimulus without overwhelming the joints. The goal is to finish feeling challenged but stable, not exhausted. The second exercise focuses on balance and neural activation, which are often overlooked yet crucial after 50. This movement is controlled one-leg standing, practice near a wall or counter for safety. Shift your weight onto one leg and gently lift the other foot just a few inches off the floor, keeping your posture tall and your gaze forward. The supporting leg engages from the foot through the calf and into the hip, while the core muscles activate to keep your torso steady. What makes this practice powerful is the constant stream of small corrections your nervous system must perform to keep you upright. Tiny muscles around the ankle and hip fire rapidly to maintain stability, strengthening the communication between brain and body. This improves reaction time and reduces the risk of falls, which become increasingly common as balance pathways weaken with age. Even holding the position for 20 to 30 seconds per side provides meaningful stimulation. As you become more confident, you can increase the challenge by closing your eyes briefly or by turning your head slowly from side to side, which forces the inner ear and proprioceptive system to adapt. These variations stimulate deeper layers of coordination without placing stress on the joints. Practicing balance daily sharpens neural efficiency, making stability feel automatic rather than forced. Together, slow, deep squats and controlled one-leg standing rebuild the physical and neurological base that aging gradually erodes. Strong legs support metabolic health and independence, while refined balance preserves confidence and safety. These exercises may appear simple, yet their cumulative impact over months can dramatically alter how a man moves, stands, and feels in his body. When the foundation becomes stable again, every other aspect of longevity becomes easier to maintain, setting the stage for the next movements that enhance circulation and upper body strength. Once the lower body foundation is reawakened and balance pathways begin sharpening again, the next priority is circulation and upper body engagement, because these systems determine how efficiently oxygen, nutrients, and energy move through the body each day. After 50, blood flow can become less dynamic, posture may begin to round forward, and upper body strength often declines quietly due to fewer lifting and pushing demands in daily life. These shifts are subtle at first, yet they influence heart health, brain clarity, and metabolic resilience in ways that are rarely discussed. The third exercise is the controlled heel raise, a deceptively simple movement that directly targets the calf muscles, which function as a secondary pump for blood returning from the lower body to the heart. To perform this exercise, stand upright with your feet hip-width apart and your hands lightly touching a wall or chair for balance. Slowly rise onto the balls of your feet, lifting your heels as comfortable while keeping your body aligned and stable. Pause briefly at the top, feeling the calves contract, then lower your heels back down with control over several seconds. This slow rise and descent are crucial because they maximize muscular engagement and improve venous return without placing excessive stress on the joints. The calves contain dense networks of muscle fibers that assist circulation, and when they contract rhythmically, they help propel blood upward against gravity. Strong calf muscles reduce pooling in the lower legs, support heart efficiency, and contribute to better endurance during walking and daily movement. Performing 10 to 15 repetitions for 2 or 3 sets can significantly enhance circulation over time. Beyond circulation, heel raises also strengthen the ankle complex, which is vital for balance and fall prevention. The ankle is often overlooked in strength training, yet it is the first joint to respond when you step onto uneven ground or shift direction suddenly. By reinforcing this joint daily, you improve stability and reduce the likelihood of missteps that can lead to injury. The fourth exercise introduces upper body strength through slow controlled push-ups, which can be modified to wall push-ups or incline push-ups depending on current strength levels. Stand facing a wall with your hands placed slightly wider than shoulder width and your body aligned from head to heel. Slowly bend your elbows, lowering your chest toward the wall while maintaining a straight posture. Then press back to the starting position with deliberate control. This movement activates the chest, shoulders, triceps, and core muscles simultaneously, creating a coordinated strengthening effect that supports posture and metabolic activity. As upper body muscle mass increases, resting metabolic rate improves, and glucose regulation becomes more efficient. Additionally, pushing movements counteract the forward rounding posture that often develops from prolonged sitting, helping to reopen the chest and improve breathing mechanics. Performing 8 to 12 slow repetitions for 2 or 3 sets builds strength safely while minimizing strain. The key is to focus on controlled tempo rather than speed, allowing muscles to remain under tension long enough to stimulate adaptation. With consistent practice, many men notice improved shoulder stability, greater arm strength, and enhanced confidence in daily tasks that require lifting or pushing. Together, heel raises and controlled push-ups address circulation, posture, and upper body integrity, all of which play central roles in healthy aging. These exercises reinforce the heart through improved blood flow and support the spine through stronger muscular alignment. When practiced daily, they create a powerful combination that keeps energy moving efficiently through the body, preparing you for the final movement that integrates endurance, coordination, and long-term vitality. The final movement in this routine may appear almost too simple to matter, yet it quietly amplifies the benefits of every other exercise you have learned so far, because it integrates strength, coordination, posture, breathing, and endurance into one continuous flow. This movement is intentional walking performed with arm swing and postural focus, and when done correctly, it becomes far more than a casual stroll. It becomes a signal to your entire body that you are still designed for motion, rhythm, and sustained effort. Most people walk every day without thinking about it, but passive walking does not produce the same biological impact as deliberate walking with awareness. To begin, stand tall and gently lengthen your spine as if the top of your head is being lifted upward. Relax your shoulders downward while keeping your chest open, and allow your arms to swing naturally forward and backward in coordination with your steps. This arm motion is not exaggerated, yet it should be purposeful enough to engage the upper back and shoulders. As you walk, focus on placing your heel down first, then rolling smoothly through the midfoot and pushing off through the toes. This controlled foot strike activates the calf muscles, glutes, and hip stabilizers in a coordinated sequence. When performed consistently, this pattern improves gait efficiency and reduces stress on the knees and lower back. Even a moderate pace can stimulate cardiovascular adaptation when posture and stride are aligned correctly. Intentional walking also plays a powerful role in mitochondrial activation, which directly influences how energetic and resilient you feel throughout the day. When muscles contract rhythmically for extended periods, they demand oxygen and fuel, prompting the body to increase mitochondrial density and efficiency. Over time, this enhances endurance and metabolic flexibility, allowing you to switch more smoothly between burning carbohydrates and fats for energy. This is one reason consistent walking is associated with improved longevity across many populations. Breathing becomes another critical element during this movement. Inhale deeply through the nose if possible, expanding the lower ribs and abdomen rather than lifting the shoulders. Exhale steadily while maintaining upright posture, allowing the diaphragm to move fully with each breath. This breathing pattern increases oxygen exchange and supports heart rate variability, a marker of nervous system balance and recovery capacity. Walking with controlled breathing turns a basic activity into a restorative practice. Another benefit of this exercise is its impact on brain health. Rhythmic bilateral movement, where both sides of the body coordinate in alternating patterns, stimulates neural networks involved in memory, attention, and coordination. Many men notice that clarity of thought improves after even a short intentional walk, because increased circulation delivers more oxygen and nutrients to the brain. Over years, this habit supports cognitive resilience and may reduce the risk of age-related decline. To practice this movement effectively, aim for 10 to 15 minutes daily at a pace that slightly elevates your breathing without causing strain. The objective is not exhaustion, but steady engagement, where conversation is still possible, yet effort is noticeable. If outdoor walking is not practical, indoor walking in place with arm swing can still provide meaningful stimulation. This final exercise multiplies the impact of the previous four because it reinforces circulation built through heel raises, strengthens posture supported by push-ups, stabilizes balance enhanced by one leg standing, and complements the lower body power developed through squats. It ties together strength and endurance into a sustainable rhythm that can be maintained for decades. When walking becomes intentional rather than automatic, it transforms from routine movement into a daily investment in longevity, energy, and independence. Now that you understand each of the 5 exercises individually, the real transformation begins when they are organized into a simple structure that can be repeated daily without confusion or hesitation. The power of this routine does not come from intensity or complexity, but from consistency and intelligent sequencing that respects how the body responds to stimulus after 50. When movements are performed in a logical order, they build on one another and create a compounding effect that strengthens muscle, sharpens balance, improves circulation, and enhances cellular energy, all within a short window of time. Begin with slow, deep squats to awaken the largest muscle groups in the body and stimulate metabolic activity early in the session. Perform 2 to 3 sets of 8 to 12 controlled repetitions, focusing on steady breathing and full muscular engagement. This primes the nervous system and increases blood flow to the lower body, preparing joints and connective tissue for the work ahead. Moving deliberately rather than rushing ensures that muscle fibers are activated thoroughly and safely. Transition next into controlled one-leg standing, holding each side for 20 to 30 seconds and repeating 2 or 3 times. This shift from strength to balance challenges coordination pathways while the muscles are already warm. The brain becomes more attentive to subtle adjustments, reinforcing stability and reducing fall risk over time. By practicing balance immediately after squats, you train the body to remain stable, even when muscles are slightly fatigued, which mirrors real-life situations more accurately. After establishing strength and stability, move into heel raises to reinforce circulation and ankle strength. Complete 2 or 3 sets of 10 to 15 slow repetitions, rising with control and lowering gradually. This enhances blood return to the heart and supports cardiovascular efficiency, creating a smooth transition toward upper body engagement. The rhythmic contraction of the calves reinforces the circulatory benefits initiated by the earlier movements. Continue with controlled push-ups or wall push-ups for 2 or 3 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions, maintaining upright alignment and steady breathing. This restores upper body strength and posture, counteracting the forward rounding that often develops from prolonged sitting. Engaging the chest, shoulders, and arms stimulates metabolic demand and reinforces muscular symmetry, which supports joint health and daily functionality. Finish the routine with 10 to 15 minutes of intentional walking with arm swing and upright posture. This final segment integrates all systems activated earlier in the session and transforms isolated strength work into coordinated full-body movement. Maintain a pace that elevates breathing slightly while allowing you to stay in control. Focus on heel-to-toe mechanics, relax shoulders, and consistent breathing to maximize oxygen delivery and mitochondrial activation. When performed together, these 5 exercises require approximately 15 minutes, yet their cumulative effect over weeks and months can be profound. Muscle mass can stabilize or increase, balance can become more automatic, circulation can improve, and energy levels can feel more reliable throughout the day. The key is daily repetition, because the body thrives on predictable stimulus and adapts gradually in response to consistent demand. This routine is not about chasing youth or competing with younger versions of yourself, but about preserving capability and independence for the decades ahead. Aging does not automatically mean decline, and biology remains remarkably responsive when given the right signals. Every repetition, every balanced stance, and every intentional step is a message to your body that strength and vitality are still required. As you move forward, commit to these 15 minutes as a non-negotiable part of your day, much like brushing your teeth or eating a meal. Small actions repeated consistently create large outcomes over time. If this approach to longevity resonates with you, stay engaged, continue learning, and share your progress with others who may need encouragement. Your future strength is built in the present moment, and the decision to begin is the most powerful step you can take.